Hello, everyone. Happy Sunday. I am so happy to be here tonight. Sorry that I missed you guys the week before. I was exhausted. I just absolutely was. I had a very busy week. So I didn't have the energy to get to you guys. So that's why I was not here. But I have the energy today. It was a restful day. Probably because we had Thursday off. I didn't work on Thursday. And then I worked Friday, which was a busy day. But then Saturday and Sunday was not. So, yeah, probably why. Get all this hair out the way. So, for those of you who are new to the channel, welcome. My name is Burjo. You can also call me B. Elise. I am the owner of B. Elise Notary Services as well as the Notary Education Group, which is the channel that you have joined today to watch me live. Every Sunday, I go live at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It was 8:30 p.m. Before the clocks went back. So now that the clocks are back, I don't have the energy to wait another hour to go live with you guys. So that's why I'm here at 7:30. Hi, Donna. Welcome. All right. It's going to be an awesome night. But I come live and I talk to you guys about notary and business related topics, share some tips, and then answer your questions in real time. All right. So I am going to jump right into it because I am tired. Although I didn't do anything, I made comfort food. We had beef stew today, and so I am feeling that comfort and I want to go to sleep. So tonight we're going to be talking about your digital footprint as a notary. And it was a topic brought about from two different scenarios, or I will say two different experiences. So, my friend Stephanie, we were talking about that. She actually went live about it some weeks ago, just talking about being careful of what you do online. Like, we talk about it all the time, and people really don't take it seriously. And then you guys know that my background is medical assistant, and I renewed my medical assistant. Well, I have to renew it tomorrow. So, in order for me to renew my medical assistant certification, I have to take continuing education units, and it has to be 10. So, I had to do 5 2 credit classes, and it was a lot. It was a lot of information. But one of the ones I took was based on your digital footprint and how, because I'm in healthcare, so all of the classes I took are healthcare based. It was talking about people being careful of what they share online. And, when you post, when you share, everything gets recorded online. Nothing is private unless you set up your browser and you are using websites where you have created an account so it's password protected and things like that. Everything we do can be tracked. And it does not just count for your business, it also counts for your personal. So that's what I want to talk to you guys about tonight. So let me pull up my notes here so I can stay on task because you guys know because I love to talk, I will definitely just be all over the place with it. So, I got to make notes for myself. All right. So, what is your digital footprint? What is it really? All right. Everything that you do online, that's your digital footprint. From your browsing history to your scrolling behaviors. You can scroll online and not interact with any of the posts that you see. But if you spend enough time on it to read it, it gets recorded as something that you may be interested in. So your browsing history, remember how we always talk about, oh, it's listening to me. It really is. Hey, Stephanie, good evening. Our mobile phones, our computers, everything is listening and recording your interests based off of your browsing and your scrolling and your clicks and your shares. So I wanted to relate this to notary because a lot of times what it really boils down to is you can learn everything you want about notary. You honestly can. It's about getting hired to do the job is where everybody is running into a snag. Okay. So I know a lot about notary. I know how to perform my duties as a notary public in my state. Okay. And that's in person and online. There is a difference. I can't do things online that I can do in person, and you have to know the difference. But how do you get hired? You know, people want to work with people who are trustworthy, okay, who are professional. All right. So, yes, and I know I'm going to get a lot of controversy about this. Well, I have freedom of speech. When it comes to my personal page, I can do whatever I want to do. I can post whatever I want to post. No, you can't. When you become commissioned as a notary public, your business is not the commissioned official. You are. So everything that you do tells people whether or not they want to work with you, whether or not they can trust you. Okay. And unfortunately, it says a lot about who you are. Like, why are you so interested in this negative thing that you have posted about it, you've shared about it, you're talking about it? It all makes perfect sense. And when I tell you guys, I can't tell you guys how many times I've been hired for a job. And before they hire me, they disclosed to me that they looked at my website, they followed my social media, and they said, based off of all of that, I knew I immediately wanted to work with you. You know a lot, you do a lot. I love how you got everything set up. They tell me this. So I know that people are not just going to my website and saying, okay, we want to work with her. People are not just going to your Google business profile and stopping there. They're not. They are doing the research on you and they're looking you up to see what you are about. And I used to feel um, a little intimidated by posting pictures of myself, but people actually want to see who they're working with. Okay. So yeah, it's good to have a brand and to have a logo, but they want to see who the person is behind the logo. They want to see who the person is behind the brand, behind the business. Okay. So you need to make sure that you are being very careful. All right. Like, I know when it comes to a lot of things that happen, in life and in the world, we feel so drawn to share it with the world, but there are some things that you really shouldn't share. And I know it's like, well, why? I know, I get it. Hi, Michael, happy holidays. Yes, you want to share everything, but there are some things you just cannot share because of how you may be looked at. And the whole reason why people get into business, period, is because you want to make a buck. You want to make some money. You want to have make a living. And unfortunately, being a part of controversy and then carrying controversy on, it's not a good look. It's just not. This is why I really encourage people to not share posts that in regard to politics and religion, because your customers, they don't need to see that. They don't need to know what your personal views are. People really shouldn't know that much about you to where they can literally be able to judge you. People are going to judge you anyway, but you really don't want to be judged in a negative light when it comes to your business, okay? Because you are your business, guys. And I don't really know how much more or how many different ways to say it. Yes, Stephanie, I was just telling them you went live about this weeks ago. And I took a continuing education course today for my medical assistant certification I have to renew tomorrow. And it was talking about your digital footprint. Okay. And clients, they check you out way before they call you. They don't, like I said, they don't just stop at the Google profile. They don't just stop at your website. They go and they dig deep. They look at your about page. They look up your name. They want to know who you are. They want to know how you look. If your whole website has no picture of you on it, I guarantee you they are digging to try to see what you look like. And if they can't find what you look like, they probably are going to go on to the next. And I know it sounds bad. I get it. I remember sharing that a customer told me that a customer said that they were looking for someone to notarize documents for their mother. Their mother was elderly. And I don't remember if I was going to a home or I was going to a residence, but I do remember them saying, when I saw your face, I knew that you were the person I wanted to work with my mom. And I shared that online, and somebody told me, well, that would have struck me as being creepy. Well, why? Because we do the same thing. Many of you guys know that I'm relocated from um, South Florida, up a little further towards the north part of the state. And I had to find new doctors and new people for different things that I need. And the first thing I do is I want to see a picture of this person. I want to see if this person looks friendly. Unfortunately, you do have some people who may be friendly and they're not very photogenic. You ever see a picture of somebody and they're like, it's like they are not good at smiling, and it creeps you out, right? People do that in real life. Like, they look and they want to see, and so you should have a photo of yourself. Your brand shouldn't just be a logo. You should be very careful of the things that you share on your personal page. You really should try your best not to, you shouldn't try to commingle your personal with your business unless that is what you are trying to sell, because everybody has their own way of selling themselves. And some people sharing their personal life with their business actually helps them get business, but for some other people it may not. Sometimes when you connect your personal life with your business, it makes people not take you very seriously. They will come to you for the business, but then they also are like, well, treating you like they're your sister or your brother, because it's like, well, you seem like, you're a different person on your personal page. And then I call you and you're telling me you can't do this because of this, but I just feel like we connected. And it's like, no, that's why you have to have business on business and personal on personal. But then again, that may help you where people feel like they can relate to you, and that's why they want to work with you. So you have to find what works for you. But if you're going to be posting business stuff on your personal page, then that means you got to be careful what you post on your personal page, because you do have some people where they don't have a business name. Their business is their name. So then that's why I can understand you sharing your business on your personal page, because your business is your actual name. But for those of you who have an assumed name for your business, you're not going by your name for your business, then you may have to, what's the word I'm looking for? You got to differentiate. Okay, people should be able to go to your business page and not your personal if you are using a business name, if that makes sense. Hold on, let's see. Donna said, been told that a few times our picture says a lot. It does. It really does. And people, they see you, and sometimes people feel immediately drawn to you. And on the flip side, sometimes people may see you and they feel like, nah, I don't want to work with that person. And that's fine too. But people do feel more comfortable knowing the face behind the name. Stephanie says, please be careful what you share on personal social media pages from other groups and other pages. That too. I've recently, as of, I want to say maybe some months ago, because I think I just started this year, trying to make sure I don't share certain things. So what I do is, if I want to share something, I will share it with my friends, but I don't share it on my personal page anymore. Because the things that I find funny, other people may find offensive or, risque, and I just don't want to give people the wrong message when it comes to working with me. And I understand by me being a small business, by me being the face of my business, that is super important to take into consideration. Excuse me. Stephanie says, I'm the face of my business, so my personal page represents that. If you want to create a personal profile that's strictly business related and one that's not you, can do that too. Exactly. And that works for some people, and for some people it doesn't. You know, sometimes merging your personal with your business can be a bad thing, and sometimes it can be a good thing. And that's why it's important when people decide to do anything for their business, try it out. But don't just try to do exactly what you see everybody else doing, because it may not work for you. That wouldn't work for me. Me putting my business stuff on my personal page, it wouldn't work for me. But it absolutely works great for other people that I see do it, and it brings in business. So what I do is I post everything on my business page, and I share from my business page on my personal. So that way, when you do look up BLE's notary services, I'm not going to be the first thing that comes up. People are going to be automatically taken to the business part of it. And that's why I do it that way. Now, why it matters for notaries. Okay. Notary work is all about trust. Okay. We really forget that we are public officials. Okay. So no, we're not a mayor. No, we're not the governor, but we are a public official on a smaller scale, but we have a big job. Okay. And so people have to be able to trust you. And because you are a person of integrity, that means doing things right even when no one is looking. Okay. So your digital footprint can't be raggedy and then you out here pushing you're a person of integrity. You got to show it. You got to show it. And your digital footprint is going to tell on you every time. Even the things that you think people are not able to see, people are able to see everything that we do online. Not unless you have went through paying people to remove you from the internet, it's not going to happen. The internet is forever. Didn't they what was that movie? Baywatch, where the guy was like, "No, did you take my picture? Don't post that on the internet. The internet is forever." That's very true. It's a very true statement. So you got to be careful what you post, okay? People, they check your credibility and your online presence. It it's a part of your professional identity, okay? It's a part of you. Yes, that's correct. Stephanie is right. Even when you delete it, people are still able to pull it up and see it, and it's going to be connected to you, okay? Now, what's the benefits of a strong digital presence? Now, there are some notaries who they really, and I get it, they didn't grow up in a time of internet. Okay. Um, I didn't even have internet until I was in high school. Okay. So I grew up without it as well. And I had AOL in ninth grade, I think. We got AOL in ninth grade, dial up. So I didn't grow up with it either, and even with me having the internet in high school, the internet and what you can do on the computer nowadays is way more advanced than what it was in the 90s. Okay. So there are still some things that I have to thank God for YouTube, right? I don't even remember when YouTube came about, but if it wasn't for YouTube, there'll be a lot of things I still would not know how to do. And my kids grew up with internet and all of that. So they have to help me a lot of times. And sometimes it makes me feel like a dinosaur. But I thank God that they are smart enough to be able to show me how to do some things. Because if it wasn't for me wanting to learn, I wouldn't have the good digital footprint that I have. All right. Now, the digital footprint, it helps you out in so many ways. Okay. It helps you to get business. All right. If people see your digital goods and they are happy with what they see, they're going to want to work with you. Okay. Another thing people don't take advantage of is making sure that your website can answer their questions. And I tell people this all the time. I went to a BBB seminar where people, they were talking about people are wanting to see FAQs because people are actually using AI to ask questions. So imagine you having an FAQ on your website or in your Google business profile, because you can have FAQs there too. And they ask AI a question and they get the question from your website. Now, when they share the answer, the resource that they, or the source that the AI uses to gather the information, they have a link below, and the customer is actually able to click on the link. And so the AI can take them to your page based off of the answer that they got from your site or your profile. So this is why it's important for you to really treat your website as your, that's your baby. It needs to be full of information. It needs to be updated on a regular basis. Okay. So this way, when customers want to use you, they're able to get all of the answers to their questions. And then when they get ready to call to make the appointment, or when they get ready to go on the website and make the appointment, they have nothing that they need to ask. I had a customer, they booked me online, and I get this all the time. People book me online. I have automated notifications that go out as soon as you book to help you prepare for the appointment. And now I have my FAQs on that notification too. Click here for frequently asked questions, because for me, I want everything to be readily available to them, because I know I get busy and I may not always be able to answer the phone. I've even gotten into the habit of, when I answer the phone, I tell people, "Hi, Notary Services, this is Burgel. I'm currently with a customer. May I please give you a call back?" And then that just stops them automatically, like, "Oh, okay, yes." As opposed to sending them to voicemail, sending them a text message. I had a person, I kept sending the text and they kept calling, which means that they weren't checking the text. So I had to answer the phone and I had to excuse myself in front of my customers. Okay. So this is what has prompted me to beef up my FAQs. And yeah, sometimes on the flip side, people don't want to read either, which, can kind of suck, because it's like, you feel like you put in all this work to give them all the information and they still don't read it. It's like, what the heck? But I do have more people that read than not. So the few people who don't read, I just chalk it up to they don't feel like it. So it's fine. I'll answer the question. And even when I answer the question, I'll let them know that the same answer that I gave you is right on my website. I had a customer that called me and they wanted to make an appointment. And I told them I was with a customer. They said, "Well, I just want to know, how much would you charge to do the notary and then travel?" I said, "It's $10 per stamp, and travel is depending on where you are." And so they told me where they were. And so I was like, $10 for travel, just off the top of my head. And they're like, "Okay." So then they called me again after my appointment. No, they text me. And then I gave them $15 fee of travel. And the reason I was able to do that is because I was finally home in front of my computer, in front of my travel fee chart. And so they were like, "Well, you told me $10 before." And I said, "Well, if I told you $10 for travel, I will honor that." I said, "Unfortunately, when I'm not in front of my fee schedule, it's hard to gauge the cost for the travel. And so the number that I threw up at you was my minimum." I was like, "But if you do want to go on my website, I do have that same fee schedule listed on there that will show you I charge $15 to go to that area." And they were like, "Thank you so much for your honesty, and I still want to book." And I said, "Okay." And that was that. I didn't have to be confrontational. I didn't have to say, "Well, look, this is my fee. And da, 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 da. I know my worth." I didn't have to do none of that silliness, because all of my fees are listed on my website. So if you ever want to question, "Well, she said it was this and it was really this," you look on my website and see, "Oh, okay, that is the right. Yeah, that's it. That's my fee." Now, if I charge you under, you know, whatever. But I'm never going to quote a fee based off of how I feel that day or what the weather is. Okay. All my fees are on my website for a reason because I just don't have time to remember all of that. And I tell people, just go on my website. That's what the fee is. This is when I'm available. I can't look at my calendar right now, but my availability is listed on my website. I always tell people everything you need is on my website, and it actually encourages them to just go ahead and go, especially if they need the service. And I've already told them I am with the customer currently, so I can't take the call right now. And more people are understanding of that than not. Stephanie said, one thing I would recommend is to Google yourself and see what information shows up about you. Yes, absolutely. You could even ask ChatGPT, and ChatGPT will tell you about yourself and using information from Google. Stephanie says, I can't tell you how many times a client or company have told me that they looked me up online. Yes, they will tell you that. And so this brings me to my next thing of you guys know that I've been taking appointments from my home for, I think this is the third year. I think I started taking customers in my home either 2 or 3 years ago. And so I've recently signed a lease for my own office space, but it's going to be in an actual commercial building. But I can't tell you how many times people have looked me up. And right on my Google, I have a video showing you that I work outside of my home. And they will call, say they're coming. They will pull up to my house and keep going because they see that I'm in a residence and not a building. And I'm like, but it says right there on my Google that I'm home. Like if you Google it, you will see it's a home, it's a residence. And they'll pull up still and keep going. And I have notary yard signs in the grass and everything. They'll still keep going. And I always thought that that was funny. I'm like, well, instead of just pulling up and leaving and then being a no-show, you could just call me and say, oh, I didn't know that you were in your home. I don't feel comfortable. I'm going to cancel. I would prefer that as opposed to you just rolling up and rolling away, because it's a huge inconvenience, especially if I've had another customer call for that same time and you were a no-show. I could have gave the other customer your time. But I have had several neighbors who have come to me to get services done in my home office, what you guys are looking at right now. I have it set up just like a home office. I have a door. So when they come in, I can close the door. I have cameras, I have security, I have all of that stuff to protect me and my customers, you know? So I'm really looking forward to being able to take people in a commercial spot. And the office that I'm going to be in has attorneys in there and realtors and brokers. And so I'm really excited to just canvass the whole building and let them know, hey, I'm down here in Suite 100. You guys ever need to have me come up or have your customers come over, just send them here, just call me so that I make sure that I'm available. Because if I have a customer already or if I'm away at a mobile signing, I don't want to miss them, you know? Thank you, Stephanie, and thank you, Michael. All right, so what are some of the benefits, okay, of having a strong digital presence? I'll tell you right off the bat. Better quality clients, okay? Way better quality clients, because clients who actually can see that you are a professional person are going to treat you like that. I have never gotten a customer that came to me or that I went to them and they did not treat me like a professional first. Never had it happen. And that just makes me know, or it confirms that what I am putting out there is working. Because if you're not getting that quality of a customer, then that is not a reflection on the customer. That's a reflection on what you have put out there. And that is something that you should take seriously. More referrals. Okay. When you have a digital presence, you get more referrals because people feel comfortable sending people your way because of your digital presence. Okay. Increase visibility without paying for ads. Okay, some people have to pay for ads to be seen, but when you have a strong digital presence, you don't have to. Now, obviously, when I relocate, I am going to be paying for an ad, probably for the first quarter of the year, because I need people to know that I am in a new place. So I am going to be doing that. But I am doing my job now by letting everybody know. I have a post and an email going out in the next week, letting people know I'm going to be in a new location. So this way, people won't come over and be like, "Oh, you weren't there." No, I'm in a new location. And yes, Michael, you are right. Safety is big, really big. And I'm really excited to not have people coming over to my house anymore because it's really difficult when you walk in, and although my office is next to the front door, I wish my door to this office was right there so that you walked from this door to here, but you don't. So you have to walk through my living space to get to my office, which is a bummer, but I just try to make sure that I have my living space looking presentable. And when I do get a customer to book me and they're going to come to the office, then I have to go and I have to make sure that the kids don't have their things laying around in the front room, and make sure that there's no litter being tracked, because, I have cats, no litter being tracked. And I do have to let people know I do have animals. I've only had one person who was petrified of cats. And they, as soon as they came in the front door and saw the cat, they were like shaking. And I'm like, oh my Lord. I'm like, they're not gonna bother you. And like, she was so scared, she ran to my office and she closed the door, and I had to like squeeze myself in the door. Like, it was really bad. So really happy that I won't have to do that anymore as well. But let's get back to the benefits. So in another one, automatic proof of professionalism. Okay. Having a good digital footprint is automatic proof that you are a professional. Okay. Imagine having a notary business, right? And nobody can find you, but you're telling people, oh, you can call me for notary. I can't even locate you online. I don't feel comfortable. Okay. So that's the benefits of having that strong digital presence. And in having a strong digital presence, that means that whenever you make updates, you have to make updates across the board. Okay. Everything should match, everything should be the same, no matter where they search for you at online. Okay. This also helps to strengthen your digital presence. Okay. Now, the downfalls. Okay. Notaries ignore about their digital footprint. Lost opportunities you didn't even know about. You can literally lose opportunities by not having a good digital footprint. And sometimes people think, well, I'm online. Yeah, but there's a difference between you being online and you having a good online presence. People should be able to see good things about your business when they click on it. They should be able to see customer reviews. They should be able to see professional photos, not photos of you outside by the lake, in the bathroom, in front of the shower curtain. A good picture. You can have a picture with no background. You have a picture that you take of yourself while you're at a closing or in a realtor office or in a commercial building. No pictures of you in your car. You want to have professional photos. And if you do have a professional photo of you in your car, it should be, related to mobile. Like, okay, I'm doing a mobile notary, but your presence should appear to be professional. Okay. Like, I wouldn't take a picture of me in the car with a t-shirt on like this, like a Nike t-shirt. I'm doing my notary, y'all. No, I'm not. No, that's not a professional picture. You can have on a nice collared shirt. You can have on a button up. You can have on a blazer jacket or a cardigan sweater. And, hey guys, doing my notary. I'm out here. If you guys need me, give me a call. I'll swing by, something like that. But be very, very, consistent. Okay. So trust concerns. Clients unsure if you're legitimate. Like Stephanie said, and even Donna, customers look you up. Okay. It's no different from you looking people up when you want to use them for service. And inconsistent branding equals people pass you by. Your branding should be the same across the board, no matter what channel they look on. Okay. Outdated or messy profiles tell the wrong story. And yes, I get it. Sometimes you see, like me, you see something online that looks like it's hilarious and you want to share with everybody else so they can get a good laugh too, but it's messy. It's messy. It can have your profile looking messy. It's just like, no, don't even do it, you know. And then having incorrect business info, okay, that can create appointment losses. Like I was going through some of my pages, which I do. You got to make sure your links are working, your buttons. Make sure that the links are going to the right place, because people get frustrated when they're trying to get an appointment with you. They're clicking on things that you have. They're supposed to go to a certain place and they're not going. That's bad. Okay. Now, how to get it right? How to get your digital footprint right? Have clean, consistent branding across the board. Okay. Make sure you update your hours and contact info. I felt really bad because somebody booked me on Thanksgiving Day. And it was my fault because I forgot to mark myself closed on my booking calendar. On my Google profile, I was marked closed. But on my booking, when you went to book me, it showed that I had available hours when I was not available. Luckily, they understood and canceled the appointment, but that's not a good look. So you got to make sure that these things are taken care of. You got to update your hours. You got to update your business information. Professional photos and bios. Some of you have professional photos that you took when you first started as a notary 10 years ago. Now, you don't have to do overkill like me. I do new pictures every year. And the reason being is because my look changes. Okay. When I first started out as a notary, I had a fade. So I couldn't still be showing people that same picture of me with a fade, and I come to their office in their house and I got a full head of locks now. So it's important that you do have updated professional photos, okay? You want to have a clear service listing, okay? Now, I see notaries, they post all the time. I do acknowledgments, I do jurats. Your customers do not know what that is. Okay, so instead of you saying that, you can say that you notarize general documents. You can do oaths where you're swearing people in, and and all that stuff. But acknowledgments and jurats, that is notary jargon. That is not public jargon. They do not know what that means. Stop using it. Okay, that is a notary act. That has nothing to do with their, the type of document. Well, I'm coming to get a document notarized, but to say you only do acknowledgments and jurats, then what you gonna say? Oh, that's just the act. And they're gonna be looking like, yeah, whatever. Can you notarize my document? Okay. Accurate Google business profile. Make sure that your Google business profile has accurate information, just like your website. Okay, they should both be the same. You do want to have a professional website. You do want to have an active social media. People are looking for notaries. Most times they use Google. I've had some people find me on Yelp. I've had some people use Apple Maps to find me. So it's just really important, okay, that we are keeping our information accurate, okay? And when you update your Google business profile and your website, you update your social media, okay? Update your business page, okay? If you're using your personal page for business, make sure your personal page is updated as well with your business information, okay? And you have to respond to your reviews, good and bad. Have to respond to your reviews. You should not have any reviews that you have not responded to. Okay. And you want to, I say this all the time, avoid controversial content that can damage trust. We're not talking politics. We're not talking religion. Okay. We're not doing any of that stuff on our pages. It does not make you look good. Okay. You can voice your opinion, but it's got to be tactful and it can't be messy. If you are a person who is always starting and keeping controversy, then people are not going to want to do business with you. That's just what it is. They're not going to want to. Okay. So you just got to be very careful with that. So that is all I have for digital footprints today. Did you guys have any questions about it? Anything that you wanted to ask me that's not related to what we talked about today? Oh man, I'm out of water. I do that every time. Do all this talking and then I ain't got no water. Well, if you guys don't have any questions, you guys are free to go. Thank you so much for tuning in and talking to me today. And I hope that you were able to take something away from this digital footprint. I mean, it's just very serious, you know. You got to be careful with your posting on your own page, posting in these notary groups, okay? Because the same people who want to work with you are in these notary groups, okay? And you don't want to look like you are not the type of person they want to work with. They want to work with a professional. They don't want to work with somebody who is a negative Nancy, who's always keeping up turmoil and causing turmoil. Nobody wants to work with somebody like that, okay? Because if you are like that in real life, you're probably going to be like that when you meet with their customers. That's just what they think. You know, it's just not. So, all right. Well, since you guys aren't posting any questions, I'm going to go. You guys have a wonderful week ahead and a wonderful evening. All right. Bye, everyone. I'll wait a little bit just in case some of your questions aren't posting. Because I always feel bad when I end it and then I see stuff come up and I'm like, oh crap, I couldn't answer. You're welcome, Stephanie. Have a good night.